I love it.
He's the guy in
Uh,
gym pumping it up with the hoodie and the headphones,
Oh yeah.
man.
So I took your advice on doing the Pittsburgh market instead of doing it virtually in the Pensacola like I talked last week. So I got close to 400 leads and I got a bunch of motivated sellers. I got this one in Aliquippa, but my market, and I'm actually talking to a realtor right now just about because I accidentally called him calling a property, and he was telling me that the Pittsburgh market is very weird with the comps because every part of the city's different. So I have what?
It is.
Yeah. So like that's why I'm struggling a little bit. Two of the properties were duplexes and the realtor saying that the one he's a realtor, but he does wholesale on the side, he says. So he's kind of helping me with my numbers, but at the same time, I also want to try and fail by myself. I'm gonna fail, instead of so I don't want to necessarily go with him, but I'm also just kind of having him help me out. But like I said, I have the one duplex. Dude wants 86,000, but I know because from watching your videos, multifamilies are a little bit harder to comp. So I got the rents and stuff. And then there was this other guy that I was talking to. He has a fourplex, and from what Rick said, he was kind of saying, well, if the price is right. So I haven't really been pushing too hard for him because he doesn't seem like he's very motivated. But
That's a game show, man.
yeah. So
You'll never get anywhere with that one.
yeah, that's why I kind of stopped. I just kind of gave up on that one. But I have this other property. The house is a complete nightmare. I went over today and took pictures of it. And the seller, he wants 20,000 for it. But the comps, I'm having a hard time running the comps. I found a comp after repair value, it's worth about 120,000. But this property itself, it's been vacant for 5 years, he says. But he's wanting 20,000. He's supposed to be, fixing it up, but he's saying I consider a cash offer because I'm working a lot. I don't have a whole lot of time to work on it. So just from randomly, because there's not a whole lot of comps on the street, so that's why I was having a hard time. I shot him an offer because I tried talking to him on the phone. He said, I don't want to talk on the phone. I'll do text or email. So I'm like, so I just randomly shot him an offer of 6,000. And he goes, I was looking more around the 20,000 area. But I was talking to the realtor and I was like, look, this guy wants 20,000 for it. I have pictures. I sent him the pictures. He gave me a thumb up. Hasn't really ran the numbers or anything yet. But I'm just trying to figure out do you have any recommendations on how to run the comps in the Pittsburgh area? Like, should I talk to more realtors and stuff, the information? Because I want to try and give this guy an offer and get it under contract. But if I get it under contract for 20, I don't even know if I'd be able to sell it, for 25 to the condition because it's very hard in this area that I'm doing it.
Yeah. So you got two things going for you, right? If it's a multifamily, just know it's
no. Yeah, no.
For the one deal.
For the 20,000, that one's not a multifamily.
No, I know.
Just,
but for that multifamily, a lot of buyers want that. And so for the deal you got right now, here's the funniest part. I personally would probably not know what it's worth. We have deals right now where we don't even know what the thing's worth.
Clueless.
But like I've said this before, it's like, do you know how much a pair of Air Jordans, whatever the one in 2014 is worth right now?
Yeah, no, I have
You
no
do?
idea.
No, do you know how much? Do you like Pokemon?
No.
All right.
I don't either.
So you don't like Pokemon. Do you know how much a pristine Charizard card from 2004 is worth? You have no idea, right?
No.
No. But guess what we're going to do? Let's go ask a Pokemon expert how much he is willing to buy it for.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's because we don't know, right? We can talk all day about it, but like, why don't we just ask people that actually know what they're talking about what it is? Like, it's like Pawn Stars. Let's go ask the expert.
Yeah.
And you just get a range. And so really what I can tell you is if you can generally find a range of what it's worth and just lowball the seller and you're kind of having some conversation from here, it's kind of weird he's only wanting to do over email. On this specific example, what I would do for you is because you can't in person, you could probably get this thing locked up for 10. Over email, you're probably going to be stuck at 15. So $5,000 is worth going and seeing the guy. Say, you know what, Mr. Seller, have you seen this house yet?
Yeah, I took pictures of it today. Like,
does the guy live near there?
No, he doesn't. He has a lockbox on it because I tried to meet up with him yesterday. He goes, work. That's why I have a lockbox on it because I wanted to, see the interior because he was like, it's not livable. So then I went over and looked at it, and it's in bad shape. It's almost like that house that I saw on your live or one of your videos yesterday of the house was just completely, and then it was demoed. But from the pictures, it looked like crap. So that's kind of what it is. Like, it's extremely run down. But in the Aliquippa area, even after repair, I feel like a lot of those houses only sell for 60 to 80,000 to 90,000. So the ARV on those homes aren't very high because it's a very bad crime area. So that's why I didn't know if because it was completely run down, if 20,000 would be too high. But if he's not going to sell it for anything less, would I be better off, just trying to get it under contract and maybe just winging it to try and see if I can find an investor that, would
so you have two
possibly
options here. You have two options. So one thing I would probably tell you to do, and I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I could tell you try this. Try to get him at like 12.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and get him to 60% of what he was asking, which would be about 12,000. But
12.
I have a feeling that he's not going, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to try and get him as low as I can.
But hear me out, Cory. Maybe get for 12. Maybe he's like, no, 17's. I'm like, okay, you know what, Mr. Whatever, we can do 17, but I'm going to have some people come by and give me some inspections on it and then just really give me some good quotes. I think I can do it, but give him some leeway. Disclose to him, hey, if I really got to have some people really look at it because I know the market's a little weird and things are costing a lot for renovations.
You need that lockbox number, buddy.
No, he has it.
Okay.
So
yeah, I go. Yeah.
He has it. So just make sure you notice that you're going to have a bunch of people go through it. And guess what you're going to do when you lock it up? You're going to bring as many buyers as you can to the property once it's locked up, and you're going to see what they're at. Maybe because they're going to be your partner. The one guy says, no, we're going to have to be at 14 to buy this thing. Go back and say, hey, you know what, Mr. Seller? I talked to my guys because of and your cash buyer is going to tell you because of the duct work or whatever, blah, 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 drywall. Because of this, Mr. Seller, it's going to cost us a lot more money. We're going to have to be around 12,000 or says no. Okay, no big deal. Just let you know, I'm going to have to get out of this because fortunately it needs a lot more work than I thought. Understandable. Okay. That's going to be the best excuse you're going to have for it. And I'm only saying this because you have a lockbox and that is amazing.
Yeah. And make sure you build the longest contingency period you can, inspection. So you have enough time because cash buyers are slower in this market. And, these 7 and 14 day turnarounds are challenging now. So
I was for my first deal, I was probably going to do a 30 to 60 day.
I agree. It gives you leadway. And then what you'll do, Cory, through this process is remember how I always tell you guys, all real estate is local. This is more true in your market. We have the same problem here in Florida. I go like one block over and it's like night and day as far as pricing and values. And I started out in some really rough areas when I started doing this. And I had the same challenges as you do. And so sometimes you put it under contract, you make the best educated decision and you build in a 30 or 60 day contingency. And then you get feedback from cash buyers. Yeah. And then if the deal doesn't work out, you either renegotiate it or you get a life lesson on how to comp your neighborhood. Yeah. And after a few months, you go, okay, staying away from this side works, these types of deals. And there's no, I wish I had a piece of software that would give you all that stuff. That's why all real estate is local. Your worst case scenario, guys, and even if you're struggling on something like this, figure out what the land value is and just try to get a slight discount on that worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Flipping over to the second property, do you want to take that one on, or what was it? A duplex?
He's doing a duplex. Same thing, man. Figure out what. Go ahead.
So the duplex, like you said, from the first call, he said 86. So I told him I wanted to get more information. The realtor was telling me, to get some information on the leases, the rents, and, all that. So I contacted him yesterday. He's supposed to send me pictures of it. From what I know, it's in pretty decent condition. He said the one unit's running for $550 and the other one's running for $580. So, and the realtor texted me back and they pay all utility. The tenants pay utility. So what's that? $550. 580.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said that because he said he's from Oregon, so he's an out-of-state owner. He has a property manager, fix everything. He said it's in good condition. He's never had problems with tenants, even during COVID, not paying rents or anything. And the realtor said, if the tenants pay utilities, he said if they pay utilities, it'd be great cash flow. So at 86, the comps were hard on the multifamily, because at first I thought it was kind of the same as single family, but then after I watched your videos, it was more based off of the NOIs and stuff rather than the actual comps. So I was thinking that I was going to try and call him back and see if I could get it, for maybe 75, because he said about 5 years ago he had an offer for a guy who wanted to buy it for 74,000 with 10% down and over 20 years. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be alive in 20 years. So do you think if I could get him down, to 76,000 all cash and sell it to an investor, that would be good? Like 76,000 with $1,000 in rent plus the tenants paying utilities. Do you think it'd be a hard sell, I guess you could say?
This one? No, right. Yes. Cory.
Okay. Yeah.
Go for no. He's going to say yes to that. Go for no.
Okay.
So let's do this.
Yeah.
What's uncomfortable to you?
So that's because that's what I've been
You're at
following.
75. You're thinking about it. Let's go 20% below that. 60.
You should feel sick in your belly when you make this offer.
Offer
Well,
60.
The reason is it gives you options, and you're going to get a counter out of them without going, hey, Mr. Seller, what's the cheapest you'd give me this house? It's cheesy. So just go, listen, what if I offer you 50 grand and just shut up? He's going to reject it. If he takes it, are you upset if he took that offer? Would you be pissed?
No. Or
No.
yeah, I would because Well,
Yeah,
I would
because
yeah.
So it's psychological. Did you know, like, if I turn around and, like, I've had this happen to me, like, it's embarrassing how many times it's happened to me. I've made people what I thought was a low offer, and they go, hell yes. I'm just like, how am I getting screwed?
Yeah.
And you start going through all this BS in your head, and like your worst kid, that's why you have to have it brutally low so you can invoke a response, because 9 times out of 10 said yes, they're probably hiding something pretty major on you.
Yeah.
And you have no chance of ever renegotiating it. So if you start low, and number one, it's psychological, because now you're going up and he feels like he's winning. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, you get a counter out of it without doing this cheesy line. If I paid you all cash and closed quickly, what's the least amount you'd take? That's how I was taught 20 years ago in this business. Everybody snuffs through that. So you guys got to go brutally low. How old's the gentleman?
I want to say he's probably in his 60s or so.
Yeah, 60, 70. So
I did that on the first property because I'd been following you guys, and you guys kept saying tell me go for no. So that's what I did on that other fourplex. You know, I just spit a number. I said 54,000. He's like, no, I'm looking more in the 250,000 range.
There you go.
To me, that doesn't necessarily not make sense because it's 8-bed, 4-bath, fourplex. All 4 units are rented out. So then I'm like, how could I have possibly been that far off on my comps? But that's what I was saying, because I was originally, when I first gave him that offer, I was going off the residential comps, not the multifamily. So then when I look back on, I'm like, 250 for a fourplex, that probably, he said it was outdated, so it probably did need some work. I don't have the exact rental prices, but that might actually not be a bad deal. So, but he was the one that the price is right. So
so that's when you hear the price is right, it's like a code word. It's a psychological retail. Like, it's basically like, if you give me $1 million, I'll consider selling it to you. Like, we hear this all the time. I'm like, okay, like, Cory, I'm not going to spend energy on it. But all multis, when it comes down to it, especially when you sell them, it all comes down to the cash flow. So you know how to calculate the NOI. It's actually pretty simple on these properties.
Yeah, it should be like it should be like your rents and stuff plus like.
No, it's your rents. That's the income. Okay. And most people assume it's 100%. You got to understand, ideally, you're going to have a month or two off there. So take a month or two off of rent. Usually the banks use 80%. I'd probably use 85, 90. So if you're getting $1,000 a month times 12, that's 12,000. Multiply that by 0.85 or 0.9, whichever one you're more comfortable doing it. Then you figure out what the taxes are on the property. That should be a public record on the property appraiser site. And then you're going to have to kind of guesstimate on the insurance. You can get that information more exact from the seller, but you don't really need it. And there's your net right there. That's your net number. You take that net number and you divide it by the ask price, or what you need to do. And that's going to give you basically the fancy words, a cap rate, which is short for capitalization rate, AKA ROI, which is your return on investment. So the thing is, that's how investors are going to base if they're going to invest in it. And really anything below 10% in today's market on multifamily, it's like a no-go. You're never going to be able to pitch it unless it's in like San Francisco or something like that. Also, when you get in problem neighborhoods, when you see a cap rate of like 25, 30%, it means you're probably buying a huge problem and you're probably going to lose money on it. Like, a lot of people don't talk about this. So it's like, if you ever have a buddy goes, listen, give me $1,000 and I'll give you 5,000 back in 2 months. Would you be like, what am I getting into? Right? Like, you're going to, like, how am I going to get screwed? So I'm just telling you, when it's too high of a number, that's it. And you can play with the number. So once you get the NOI, divide it by what he or she's asking. And then you kind of have a number. If the number is like brutally low, like, you have to counter it and like go for a no on it. So it always comes down to the rent. Ideally, the rent. So you want to ideally buy it when it has a month-to-month renter in there. And that usually after 1 year, then most leases roll over to month-to-month. That's ideal. If he just signs a brand new lease, it's very suspect, because it's like most people who sign new leases are not interested in selling the property.
But Cory, just understand this. Because somebody else offered 75,000, they're doing some stupid creative finance thing on a wholesaling deal with an older guy with a bunch of equity, which is just stupid. Someone probably watched the YouTube video, tried it. That's 75 with all these terms. That's probably equal to 60 or 55 on actual cash fee.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
So just understand that 60 is actually pretty good. 75 is not even a comparable offer. So you'll be fine. Cory, you're doing really well. So you're getting there. I mean, I remember Cory, last week he said, I'm thinking about doing Pensacola. I'm like, where do you live? He said, Pittsburgh. I'm like, just do Pittsburgh. Man. A week later, guess what? He got his butt out of bed and he went after it. And guess what? Now he's calling me the next week and be like, hey, I got 2 great leads and I'm trying to negotiate. Dude, this is a great progression. Yeah. So I just want to give you a congratulations. You're not completely there yet, but dude, you're doing very well. In a week,
you're learning, dude. Like you're learning exponentially. And this is all the stuff school's never going to teach you. The reality is most families not going to teach you it. And if you master the skill, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Dude, like I didn't even start this stuff till I was in my mid 30s, man. So like you're taking action and it seems a little painful now. It's just because it's the unknown.
Yeah,
but that's the sign you're going the right direction.
Like Zach said, I'm just trying to put in the work now. But my last question real quick, going back to the first property, I want to get that under contract before I bring cash buyers to the house, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what
because you have that realtor friend, it can get squirrely. He could steal the lock it up.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that. Thank you. I really appreciate your guys' help with this.
All right. Do you know how to make the offers the right way? All that stuff?
Like I said, I'm starting out, so I'm just now starting to make offers. So I'm sure I'm going to fail a few times. But what's that?
Give me some offers. Give me your offer. Like you're trying to close me. What's your offer going to be?
So I actually just got back from looking at your property. I'm going to, with all the work that it looks like it needs done, I would obviously have to talk to, some people, but I'm looking I could probably offer you about $10,000 for it, cash, close in 30 to 60 days.
It's not bad. That's good to go. I mean, there's a million other ways to lowball it, but dude, that's not bad at all. So
the idea is just taking action, and then you can build up your quantity. And then as you're kind of failing forward and you're learning, the idea is you can make money while you do it and progress. Most people get they get their first few rejections. Like, I can't do this. This is scary. I'm like, you can't, this isn't like school. You just keep moving forward. You're doing what 95% of the population won't do. I didn't even figure out till I was 34, but I did it out of frustration. So if you do it on purpose, especially when some of you guys are younger, man, you got to be excited because it's I remember I got my first 2 years, got my teeth kicked in. I'm like, what am I doing? And I was in my 30s. I was a little bit more mature, but some people go, well, Rick, that's an advantage. I go, no. Try doing this with a couple kids, a mortgage, and a wife that wants certainty and guarantees. Yeah. And I'm like, it's harder because all the pressure on the world is on you. And by the way, I had no playbook. I had nothing. I just went out in the world and tried it. And I really screwed it up the first year, but I still made more than I did at my job screwing it up.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not going to lie. I was a truck driver for a year. That's, how I got out of, debt and stuff. I was making 100,000, but I want to have control of my time. I want to.
That's a tough life, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's why, money, I would much rather make less starting my own business in the first 6 months, really getting it going, than, be making $100,000 a year, but being away, working 60 hours a week. So overall, I want control of my time. So that's why everybody's mad at me right now around me, because they're just, they're the older generation. They're used to what
I got it.
So that's why. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. So.
You got 2 good sellers, man. You're doing well, dude. I don't think you'd do this if you were virtually doing it in Pensacola. That's my opinion. So
I agree.
I think that was a good move from us. So keep it up. I know you got this, and get some deals, man.
You got it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're a great job, Cory.
Last thing, Cory, the only way you're going to shut up your parents and people around you is by showing you money in your bank account and check.
Yeah.
So
I know. And that's why. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Because you could always go back to being a truck driver anytime you want.
I know. That's the way I look at it. I always have that in the back end. If I run out of money with what I have saved up now, because I don't get a deal or whatever, which I have full faith that I will. But if I don't, I always have some fallback on. So it's like,
that's how you shut up my friends. That's how you shut up your friends. It's the only way to shut them up.
And by the way, they're probably watching. Family is the hardest critics on you when you do this business. They're because you got to understand they do it out of love and they want you to be protected. But we only get one life in theory, and you got to make the best of it. And it's we're in a world, if you can make some short-term sacrifices, the gains are insurmountable. Yeah. And we're in a society where everybody wants everything on the quick. And I tried the whole college. It wasn't quick at all. It was 12 years of pain in my life. And it built up. I couldn't take it anymore. anymore. So you're making an educated decision, and the risk is going to be worth the reward. I'm telling you, you just got to keep going through. And I think you made a great decision. Those of you guys struggle between virtual and local, like always do your local market. If you want to add on a virtual because you want some extra stimuli, just understand it takes a little bit more time to get a virtual market because you even have challenges in your local market figuring it out, right? Imagine if you're a couple thousand miles away, it's much more challenging. So awesome. You got it. Keep going, man. Okay, man.